time now for This Is Life with Rob McGowan. How we live always changes the world around us.
Like a bird on a tree.
All right. Hi, this is Rob McGowan, Life Radio, and we're here with Veronique Arsenault. Veronique, I always want to call you Veronica. Do people call you Veronica?
Absolutely, they do.
Okay.
You know what?
What is it though? Is your name actually Veronique or is it Veronica?
It is.
It's
No,
Veronique.
it is actually Veronique. Yeah, it's the French version of it. My mom loved it when I was born. I'm actually named after a saint, and
Oh, really?
yeah,
That helps.
Veronique.
That helps.
Yeah, I know. I think it's great. And but you know what? I mean, that's why most people call me Vero, to be honest, just because it's a whole lot easier to wrap your tongue around.
I get typing it out and I'm like, wait a minute, did I type that right all the time?
Yeah.
Constantly.
Yeah, I answer to just about anything, and I'm just usually happy that somebody wants to talk to me.
Oh, well, that's good. Well, you got me today. I don't know if that's a good or bad thing, but it's all right. We'll work it out.
It's all good in my book. It's all good.
I was going through, I was thinking, what am I going to ask Vera today? And I was like, I got this list of stuff that you do. And I was looking through it and I was like, man, we don't have a 5-hour show. You are constantly on the go doing all this stuff. I mean, the Olympic torch relay, chair of committee, program and entertainment for the mayor's prayer, breakfast committee, media coordinator, big brothers, big sisters. You're on the club member of the MEMA, the Miramichi Fusion Festival. This list goes on. Schizophrenia Society, Boys and Girls Club, Music Festival, the Irish Festival. I know you're on that every year.
Of course. Yep.
Just crazy the amount of work. Where do you find time to be on all these committees and do all this stuff?
Well, so those have been over the years. I mean, some of those I'm not on anymore, but for me, it was so important when I moved back home about 15 years ago. I wanted to be part of the community. I wanted to be part of the solution. I wanted to be, part of something that was going to make a difference. And so I would jump on committees that would teach me something new and that would, give me a new experience. And some I stayed for a long time. I was with the Rotary Club for 10 years. Some it was, a year or 2 or 3 here and there, and others, I've just started with. So I love it. I love it. I get so excited, and I love the availability of these kinds of organizations in our city, because really, I mean, volunteers drive our city. They make all of our festivals happen. They make all of our events happen. They make all of our nonprofits happen. And so I got to be part of some of the most amazing things over the last 15 years, and some really once in a lifetime things that I have loved, like the Olympic torch relay that came through here. And I got to put together the whole entertainment that was broadcast across Canada featuring our city. And I loved it. It was I got to work with the city and a great community, and oh gosh, see, I get so excited. This is what you've done to me now.
That's incredible. And plus, and you do a TV show.
Yeah. Yeah, that one, you know what? We're just wrapping up our 7th year. Which is I don't think any of the three of us ever thought that it would go on that long, or that people would, want to watch us, really. I mean, we were just three people that, Judy Loge, of course, is my aunt, and then Audrey Lynch.
Oh, how do you put up with that? Oh my goodness. I don't know how you
we're the best of friends as well, so I'm lucky. And then, Audrey owns her own business here, and so we really, when we started out, we thought, oh, isn't this cute? It's going to be a nice little show for us to do, and we'll see how it goes. And it's kind of blossomed. We now appear across the province every week, and it's one of their, kind of flagship shows now, which hey, listen, I love it. It's great.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of people. I've actually got on that show. Anytime somebody in town needs to get a message out or do something, you guys are open to have them on. I've been on a few times, and I love that show. It's great.
Yeah, it's an opportunity for us to connect with people in the community, and also like across the province. So it's been a great vehicle for promotion for nonprofits.
Well, that's great. Anytime we can bring some light to Miramichi is awesome.
Absolutely.
And I was thinking, well, we did a play a few years ago, which we had some fun together with the three of us, and I'm not sure if that's my avenue of things to do, but it was fun. The experience, I do remember, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I don't think I'm a great actress either, Rob.
I
To be
thought you guys did
honest.
great. I was smiling the whole time. I gotta admit, I
Well,
was smiling the whole time, especially
we
when the
had,
big
you know what?
cross fell down and everything.
Oh, we had such a great time, the three of us, and it was my first acting experience, and I think you had been in something before. So, you know what? I was just really thankful that Sam Crowell took a chance on all three of us and put us in his, and I know your daughter as well was a huge was one of the initiators of that festival, and we were lucky that we got to do something cool that time.
Yeah, yeah. Well, especially now since the theater's gone. Actually, we're
Yeah, I
not
know,
able to do
I
things
know.
there anymore. But that's too
Yep.
bad. Well, I suppose I should get on and to the actual business of you're running for city council now to add on top of all of this stuff.
Mhm.
It's like, really? You know,
Well, you know what they say though, Rob? If you want something done, give it to a busy person.
that's true. Is it?
Yeah,
Really?
that's what
Don't
they
give it to
say.
me.
I
I'm
mean, I
busy.
don't
I
know
don't
who
want to get any more done.
I don't know who they are, but that's what they say.
They're the ones who don't want to do anything. I can't give
That's
it to them.
right.
They'll get it done.
That's right.
So, when running for city council, first of all, what made you decide? Okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to run for city council. I think there's something. What set you up? Like set you apart? Makes you think I can do something special. Besides this resume that's 100 pages long.
You know what? I city council truly in my mind, at that municipal level is the most direct way to make an impact on improving the lives of, your neighbors, your friends, your family, and really and making something very lasting. Government, there's of course the three levels of government and they all do something very different. And for me, city council really gives me that opportunity. And that was why I wanted to run is to be able to help, in a lasting way, in a more impactful way. I spend a ton of my time volunteering, and I love that, especially in a community like ours, because you do see the impact every day. And so for me, it was just logical that next step to be able to be at that table where those decisions are made and continue to help my fellow Miramichiers and see how we can improve.
That's true. So, do you have ideas of what you'd like to see for the economics around Miramichi, helping us grow and get bigger? What's your idea of how we can do that and improve in that sense?
Absolutely. I've been so fortunate over my lifetime to travel the world. My father's work has taken us all over the place, really, and I got to see democracy in action, or the lack of democracy in a lot of cases, and because the countries that Dad was traveling to and working in didn't have that advantage that we have. They didn't have a democratic government in a lot of cases, and they didn't have the economic possibilities that we have. And so, for me, being part of that here in Miramichi, and really, I know that we need to support our small businesses and medium businesses and even large businesses as we come out of the pandemic. That is the biggest piece that's going to get us to our next step in continuing to grow Miramichi.
Oh,
Our
well,
businesses here have overcome and continue to overcome so much by trying to get through this pandemic. They've become creative and innovative. They have had to pivot so quickly in a world that none of us understood. And so I see us absolutely having to develop a plan to continue to support them as we go forward as a community. The second thing that I really want to see as far as our economy is that we have amazing um, public sector employers here in the region, which is great, right? We have the hospital, we have the pay center, we have Service Canada, we have some really grounded, strong employers. And now we need to encourage private sector to come in up to the table as well. We have some great ones here. We have Sunny Corner Enterprises and many more. There's so many that we can talk about. But how do we support them next? How do we encourage others to come into the region and set up shop here? And there's a lot of things that we need to do and continue to do to attract those kinds of businesses to want to come to the region and our city in particular and employ our people.
that's true. But then again, as our city's growing, which it is, housing's getting tight and everything.
Yeah.
There's also where you said on the issues of like drug abuse and what suffering people are going through, and also the other side of it, the perils that you have to go through when people are struggling. And so, what are your ideas about that and behind that?
Some of those issues that we're facing as a community when we talk about excessive drug use and some of the behaviors that come from around those things. We need to look at the root causes for that and how we improve those things in tandem. So part of that is, our housing situation, right? We need more affordable housing in the region, in our city. And I know that the city has already started to work on that file because they're encouraging investment. They're working with local investors and local builders to create more of that affordable housing. So that's one thing. Food security is another. We need a strategy around that. But one of the biggest things that we need to look at, and it's something that our city and our region in general has struggled with for many, many years, and that's a mental health strategy, right? We have a very high suicide rate here. We have
Do
some of that unemployment
we have a high
has
suicide rate here? Really? Oh,
yeah,
really?
we do. Yeah, we have some incredible committees that have already been put in place to help with suicide prevention. Sam's team is another one that works around mental health. We have the mobile crisis unit, but those are things that we need to develop a municipal strategy around mental health in order to help really focus on some of those root causes why people are getting into substance abuse, right? Which then leads to other behaviors that we don't want to see. So there are some things that we need to fix. And the more that we can do that as a community, the more that we can develop a mental health strategy at the community level, the more that we can then work with our partners at the provincial and federal level to bring in more funding and to expand those services. We know that there's a problem with service availability around, not just for us, but in general around mental health. So how do we improve that? And we can only do that if we plan.
That's true. Well, that sort of brings me to my next question. It's being life radio, of course. I'm always asking about faith, in the sense of not what your faith is or how the although do you have faith? Were you brought up Christian or Catholic or Pentecost
Mhm.
or Muslim or any certain religion?
Yeah, absolutely. I was brought up in a Catholic home. My mother and I attended church every Sunday and still do. Pandemic has changed that a little bit. But I'm actually very active in my church here at St. Michael's. And I have been a lector at St. Michael's since 2009, just after I moved home. So um, faith has always played a huge part in my life. But for me, the biggest thing that faith has done is taught me that I have to be an example, right? So my faith may not be your faith or may not be my neighbor's faith. And the best thing that I can do to be an example of my faith is to live a good life and to be the best person that I can be. And so, I've learned so much from our travels, but also from our neighbors here and the people that live in the city. We've attracted so many wonderful newcomers to the city, and because of that, we have some new faith groups, and we learn those customs, and we learn, how they want to see and be great people. And so, faith for me is such a personal thing, and I love my faith, and I love the fact that everybody gets to have their own.
That's true. Yeah. So the reason I always ask these questions because I always think if when people are making decisions, if they have some kind of upbringing with some faith in it, some idea of good and bad and whatever, I'm sure we all get it wrong as to the exact way
Yeah.
it should be. But if you have that sort of basis, you might make better decisions, I think, based on that, on a just to give us good, better moral judgment, I think, hopefully, in some cases.
Yeah, and I think, all you can do is try to live that, try to live the best life that you can. And for me, that's really in service to the people around me. I've learned that from my family. My parents are wonderful examples of that. I grew up with the expectation that I would volunteer and give back. It wasn't nice to have, that was expected of me, and I'm thankful for that. And my grandmother lived by the motto, to whom much is given, much is expected. And so that's I have a wonderful life. I have a beautiful family. I have 4 generations of family that serve this community as medical doctors. And so, like, really, that drives everything that I do. And people say, well, don't you get tired, or why do you do it? And I said, and really, I answer that by the fact that I get so much energy from being with people and seeing great things happen, that I love it. I love everything about it. And it sounds so cliche, but it is truly how my family for generations has lived. And so, I'm just lucky enough to get to live here and do the same thing.
Oh, cliche is good. I'm all about the cliche. I think it's awesome. I think people need to go back to it. Get some models, get around the kitchen table, and
Yeah.
sit and have discussions about what we're doing to make the world a better place, rather than the next video game or whatever it is you might be. I don't know. How
I'm
much
not
bigger can my
coordinated
house be?
enough
How
to
much more
play.
can? Yeah, we definitely got to get that discussion. I'm hoping by having these talks with counselors and people that are going into office, that they'll start having these talks around the table about how's this actually going to lift our community and stop fighting against each other and just work on a better place. That's what my goal is anyway.
Yeah.
So
Well, you know what?
sorry, go
I've
ahead.
seen this time, like we have an incredible slate of candidates this time, that are running for municipal election, and I have worked with all of them on various projects in the community. And so it's incredible to see those kinds of people step up to make the world a better place. Everybody gets into politics for the same reason. They think that they can change the world, whether it be, the world around our city or province or country. But that's, people get involved with politics for that reason. And so to see the amazing candidates that have stepped up this time, and there are 15 of them, so it's a huge slate. And I've worked with every one of
Wow,
them on a project or another in the community, and so that means that they are, really committed to doing some great things here.
that's true. That's awesome. So for a complex question, more, it's this one. I know where I stand, but I've been asking people sort of just to get a detailed sort of answer, like on. So what would your view be on something like the multiplex and it coming to Miramichi? Where do you stand on that and the ideas of it, and how do you think it should go about it?
So, you know what? I used to own a restaurant here. I used to own my own small business, and it was in a building that was 175 years old. It had a ton of charm and a ton of personality, and it was a beautiful building located on the waterfront in Miramichi East. Every time I opened a wall to fix something or renovate something, it cost me twice as much because you never quite know what's going to be in those walls. So as far as the that multiplex goes, I know that there's a lot of discussion around that. And from everything that I've seen, from the public discussions, the public consultations, the public reports, we definitely need to be moving that way. The buildings that we have are aging. They absolutely have served their purpose. I think they can be repurposed, which means that we can generate different income from those buildings. We just need to get creative. But I think going forward, in order to be able to attract that, investment to come into our city, in order to be able to attract or continue to attract some younger families that will continue to help, keep our environment growing and our city growing, we need to look at that multiplex. Now, I know that the province has asked us to come back as a city and take a look at a phased approach. And you know what? That's a prudent approach, because we as a city need to make sure that we're not taking on too much at this point, right? Whether it be fiscally, and I know that the current council has set aside some money to be able to progress with this file, but we need to make sure that we're doing it in a prudent fashion. And I think as I said, from everything I've seen from those public consultations, it's something that we need to do, because right now we're paying a ton of money to upkeep what we have. And that money could be going towards a little bit better purpose, I believe. And then we need to look at creatively repurposing the buildings that we currently own.
Okay. Well, so is there anything in closing? I ask everybody the same thing. I was going to say something funny, but I'm not going to.
I like your
Change my
jokes, Rob.
mind.
It's okay.
No, but is there anything you just want to sort of say out to people, or say why you're should get hired for the job, kind of thing? And other
Yeah,
than
and
the fact of everything we just went through, but is there any one specific thing or you'd like to say to people?
you know what? I just want to continue working for the people of Miramichi, as I have for the last number of years. I've been doing it as a volunteer, and now I'd like to do it as a voice at that table. I love getting to hear that feedback from people. I love to hear what concerns them. And what I've heard most, since the campaign kicked off, is that need for better outdoor spaces and a connected trail system around our river, which is fascinating to me. And it's such a great supporting priority to have, because it helps with our economic development. It helps with our mental and physical well-being. It helps support our businesses by bringing more people in. It helps our tourism strategy by improving that as well. So you know what? And that was a notion that prior to the campaign, I had heard a little bit about active transportation, but really not in depth. And I am learning so much through this campaign, and I continue to evolve and grow, which is something that I love. So, that's the kind of counselor that you have when you elect someone like me specifically, is you get that Veronique that you've had for the last 15 years, and that's one that's willing to do the hard work and get the job done.
Well, that's awesome. Well, I want to thank you, Veronique, for coming out today, and all the things you do, because I know you personally, and you do a lot of great stuff, and you're always committed to helping people and making a difference. So I want to thank you for running for council and making a difference, and I wish you the best of luck on it, and I can't wait to see you again.
Thanks, Rob. Thanks so much for having me.
No trouble. You have a great day.
You too.
Like a bird on a tree, I'm just sitting